3, 2, 1. So, okay, let's see. Testing 1, 2, 3. Now you say something.
Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel.
Interesting.
Didn't switch? Do you wanna restart the Hangout? Just maybe restart the settings and maybe that will work? Because I was playing with some buttons here, maybe that messed it up. I don't know. Because I was trying I was trying to figure out how to get.
Okay, well, I'm ready to get started.
Okay, cool. I'm just setting my oh yeah, I was gonna setting my tagline here.
Okay,
All right.
hold on. For some reason, my video. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, there we go. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. Do you need my intro or?
E yeah. What's the best way? Can you just write to my email like 1 or 2 or 3 sentence thing, and then I'll quickly take it over to you, and I'll say like, could you please say more about this? You know, tell us more about your background. Don't type too much because I'm gonna quickly kind of turn it over to you. So,
Okay. I'm thinking more than typing. This is pretty short.
okay.
Shorter than it was last time. Email link to you now. Okay.
Okay, cool, got it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna try. I'm not sure if they're gonna let me, but I'm gonna try to make this into a Udemy course.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'm gonna make it generic as much as possible. So instead of my show today, I'm gonna say I'm interviewing. I'm gonna interview my friend Bert Martinez. Something like right. I'm gonna not mention YouTube.
You know what? Since you're going to edit it anyway, we could do 2 intros. We could do one for the Udemy, and then we could do one for the show.
Perfect. Okay, cool. I can start. I think. Let me just read this again. Okay, cool. I guess I can try to start.
Yeah, it would be better if you started.
Just let me 1 second. Let me find. I have all these windows open. Let me just get them organized. Okay, perfect. Hey guys, how are you? I'm very excited to have my friend Bert Martinez on my YouTube channel today. Bert is awesome. He is a best-selling author. His website is moneyforlaunch.com. He's also a host of a very popular business podcast, which is even bigger than my YouTube channel, if you can believe that something bigger can exist. And he's also been featured in all kinds of top publications like Fox News, Forbes, Wall Street Journal, and here we're gonna learn from him how to leverage publicity and how to get publicity for our businesses so that our businesses too can be published in Forbes, Fox News, Wall Street Journal, and things like that. So thank you for joining us, and welcome to my channel, Bert.
Hey Alex, it's fun to be here. I'm excited to share some time with you and your viewers and really explain to everybody what I have discovered in my journey of getting publicity and sales and marketing and how to build a lot of what do you call it, credibility and get a lot of links pointing to your website and just getting big celebrities to hang out with you and endorse you and stuff like that. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So let's dive right in. So I guess as the first question, we should first ask, to you as an expert, what does it mean? What does publicity mean to you? Like, what is publicity?
You know, that's a great question. To me, publicity is as simple as somebody saying something on social media like, hey, this guy Bert's really, a cool guy, or check out Alex, or, have you tried this new restaurant out? That's publicity on a very smaller level. But I think publicity is any time somebody is willing to promote you, endorse you, for free when the media calls you up and says, "Hey, we want you to be a guest today to talk about to talk about this news topic," that's a pretty good endorsement. That's great publicity. That means that you have achieved a certain level of credibility, that these organizations are coming to you and asking for your input and for your help. That is what publicity means to me. It's really when you have reached a certain level and you are now considered a leader, a thought leader, and organizations, media outlets look to you for your expertise.
Very cool. Okay. Sorry, I just had another idea for video. I'm just going to make a note here. Okay. Okay. I guess now we'll do a Udemy. That was good because that can be a video on YouTube. And now let's do a Udemy intro, which is going to be just an intro of you. Let me try this again. Hey. Hi everyone. How are you? This is going to be an amazing course. Bert Martinez is going to teach us all about how to get press coverage and publicity for our businesses. Bert is a veteran of the publicity space. He has his own big radio show, which is the Money for Lunch show. You can see it at moneyforlunch.com. Bert has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Fox News, you name it, he's been there. He knows how to get publicity for himself. He knows how to get publicity for you. And in this course, we're going to just learn all the kinds of strategies, all kinds of tutorials, like all kinds of strategies and tips and ideas and you name it. He knows how to do it, and we're going to learn all about it. So let's dive right in. All right, stumbled a little bit in the middle there.
Very good.
All right, so let me I guess I'll just start asking you questions, and then we'll go one by one.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that publicity really means that somebody is willing to endorse you if you've achieved something. But what about if there's a small company? Let's say I'm Joe's company. I'm on day one. How would I get publicity, or can I, or should I try to get publicity on day one or early on when I need exposure, but it's so hard to get, it seems?
Well, and this is what I find out. Look, I don't know. Okay, my video just changed. I don't know why that is. Hold on. Do you see my video or do you see my picture?
I see your video.
Okay. All right, there we go. I just couldn't see it for a second. So anyway,
let me start over because on video the edits are weird because it's like the visuals don't make sense. Yeah. So in an earlier, So
your question to me was, hey, if I'm a small company, should I get publicity? When should I start looking at getting publicity? Something along those lines is what you said.
Yeah. So okay, should I start over? So if I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it. So publicity. Okay, I need you to focus here because it's going to be on video. What's going on?
What's that?
Well, I'm just waiting for you to look into the camera so I can start.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
because they can't see me, they can only see you right now.
So
But I could be wrong. I just realized maybe they can see the small picture. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just taking some notes. Go ahead.
okay. So, I mean, obviously, publicity is when you've done something that's noteworthy enough that other publications will want to feature you, will want to talk about you because it's interesting for their audience. But for small businesses or people who haven't started yet, that's not so much of an option because they really haven't done a whole lot yet. They're just starting. What are the options for them to get publicity, and should they be trying, and what should they do?
Great. You know what? I think that's a fantastic question. And first of all, anybody at any stage in their business or career can start getting publicity. And the easiest ways to start doing that is really writing articles for yourself, putting it on your blog or your website. It's a form of publicity. It's also getting it reprinted on other people's websites is a form of publicity. So you can start at any level. The first thing that you want to do is have a core story and have an identity. So if you're a barbershop owner, doctor, lawyer, plumber, whatever, you have to have something that is slightly memorable about you. So it could be, you know, call it the everyday barber. You know, hey, you know, Joe Bob here, the everyday barber. We're going to be talking about hair care. So the everyday barber can get publicity about how to take care of your hair in the winter, how to take care of your hair during the summer. What can you do to prevent hair loss? And go and get publicity for all that stuff that's related to hair. Okay. You can also do that for, you know, lawyers can do that. They can talk about, you know, if you're a criminal attorney, you can talk about, you know, how to get out of speeding tickets, what to do when you're pulled over, what are your rights, get publicity about that. The other thing is watch the news. One of the easiest tools to have at your disposal, and it's free, is called Google Alerts. And you can go to Google Alerts, just simply Google Alerts, and you can sign up. It's free. And so when a topic that you are trying to cover is in the news, then you can now get an alert. And let's say that there's an article in New York, and it's talking about hair loss for men or legal rights of divorced people or whatever. Then if that's newsworthy in New York, it's very possible that it's going to be newsworthy in your city or in your town. So maybe you're in Brooklyn, New York, and this news is in New York, New York. Well, maybe you can contact some of the local Brooklyn media outlets and kind of put your spin on a story and present some different ideas or topics. Or you can take that entire story, and if you're in, let's say, Las Vegas, Nevada, you can now retake that information, repurpose it, and have the media out there, you know, possibly carry that information or that story. But now it's going to have you as the expert. So you know, you don't want to steal it word for word, but you can certainly use it and repurpose it and use it for your advantage. So those are some of the things that get started. You have to have an identity. You have to have a core story. And it's never, ever too early or too late to contact the media and start building that relationship. So I think that some of the things that people do about or think about publicity is that it's very complicated. And in some ways it is, because it does have some moving parts. And that's why publicity firms are a big help, because unless you can devote time to it, you're not going to get good at it. And maybe getting good at it isn't the best thing that's going to help you, so maybe it is time to outsource that. That's a decision you have to make. The other thing is that, again, the sooner you start developing media relationships, the better it is. So maybe look around in your area and see if they have a press club or some way where you can start developing relationships with the reporters and producers. And typically you can do that at a press club, and it's very inexpensive to get involved, and it just gives you a lot of great value. So that's the way I would get started.
This is great stuff. Let's do a, I love this press club idea.
Yeah, the press club, let me tell you, the press club is one of those hidden secrets that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
The other thing that you can do if there isn't a press club in your city is go to LinkedIn, and there's a press club there, or there's a reporters club there, or there's a producers group there, not club per group, and you can join those and start building relationships.
Yeah, let me ask this from the beginning, so that because could you tell us? Yeah, could you please so could you please tell us? There's this fascinating concept of a press club. So could you please tell us what is a press club and how to join a press club and how to get publicity by joining a press club? Or yeah, teach us about this thing.
Sure. So everything in life is about relationships. So, and relationships are all about trust. You can't get a date and you can't get a deal done without trust. So the way you build trust is through relationships. That's the whole point of advertising. That's the whole point of marketing. That's the whole point of publicity, is to build your trust and your credibility that much bigger, better, faster. So by joining a press club, again, you just look up press club in, let's say, Washington, or New York Press Club, Washington Press Club, Houston Press Club, depending on what city you live in, and see if they have a press club or a press association. Contact them about joining. And so what happens there, you're going to go there and you're going to let people know that you're a source. You know, that's really the word you want to use, not the expert, but you can just say, I'm a source. In my background, I specialize in plumbing, or in handyman work, or in, raising children, or whatever it is that you're an expert in. That's what you're a source about. So you go to these press clubs, and it might cost you $100 or $200 a year. It's very inexpensive. And you get to meet the reporters and producers of these media outlets, and you get to build the relationship. And if they get to know, like, and trust you, they'll call you and say, hey, Bert, I met you over here. We've had this relationship. I trust you now. Can you help me with this story? Boom. You're now in the loop. Okay, so if there isn't a press club in your city, then the best next thing is LinkedIn. And the great thing about LinkedIn is that, again, you can do that no matter where you're located at. And so you can go to LinkedIn and start building relationships with reporters, start building relationships with media outlets, with producers, with executive producers. These are the people who typically make the decision, and now you're off and running. So LinkedIn has many groups for producers and reporters, and then joining a press club, very easy to do.
Awesome. I wasn't actually very much aware of it. I'm going to be trying this myself. This is actually great stuff. Okay, next topic. So can you please explain to us how publicity and press coverage and things like that can help us establish our brand, and maybe also tell us a little bit of how you see what is a brand from maybe the publicity kind of perspective, like.
Sure. So let me tell you kind of my backstory, and hopefully some of you guys will be able to relate to this, and you'll kind of really understand how I started thinking differently about publicity. So in the very beginning, what I did is I did exactly what I said. I joined some LinkedIn groups. I started going to press clubs, started building my relationships. Later on, I hired a full-time PR firm. Cost me about $10,000 a month, and I started getting a lot of coverage. Again, Fox News, Wall Street Journal, all this other great stuff. And so I started getting a lot of great coverage, but I wasn't getting a lot of sales. And the whole point of doing publicity and marketing is sales. I wanted to get more speaking engagements. I wanted to get more sales. I wanted to get more clients, and that wasn't happening. And so I really started looking at publicity in a different way. So if I'm not getting any sales, what's the value? Well, and the value of publicity is that it helps you build your brand credibility, your brand's credibility. It helps you build that trust factor. And here's an example. If you are looking to hire somebody and they have a bunch of press credentials and the other person doesn't have any, the person with the more press credentials is going to get a second and a third look, and most likely you'll pay a little bit more for that person's expertise than the person who doesn't have any publicity. So that's the value of publicity. The only thing stronger than publicity might be a referral. So if somebody says, hey, I need some SEO, and I say, hey, try Alex. He's my SEO guy. I trust him. And they're going to call Alex up. And so that might be the only thing that works better than publicity, is a very strong personal referral. And in most cases, you got to remember this. And when somebody is thinking about doing business with you, what's the first thing they're going to do, Alex?
Oh, you're asking me? Well,
Yeah.
they're going to look you up. Probably they're going to Google you and look you up. So you'll
That's
probably
it.
have all the publicity mentions that you that you mentioned. They're going to see, oh, this person was on Wall Street Journal. This person was on Forbes. This is like an interesting person.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you hit the nail right on the head. So publicity gives you some link juice. It gives you credibility in the cyberspace. It lets your market know that you are somebody different than anybody else in your market space. So that's number one. Number two, what I started doing after this is I started trying to figure out a way to make publicity work for me. Because ultimately, why do we want publicity? Well, I mentioned the money. I mentioned that we want to be endorsed and perceived as an expert or a celebrity. And I was thinking, okay, so how do I do that? And then I started studying some of these big names. Oprah Winfrey. I started studying her because she's very powerful.
Yeah.
Another person I started studying is Jack Canfield. And, you know, Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen are very well known and are considered experts. They get big speaking fees. And, you know, they became famous because they wrote this book called Chicken Soup for the Soul. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's a big, you know, they sold like close to 1 billion copies.
1 billion.
1 billion with a B.
Wow.
So what I started realizing, that the thing that Jack Canfield, Oprah Winfrey had in common is the same thing that somebody like Jay Leno has in common. And when you tie all this stuff together, what do these people have is that they interview their marketplace. So for instance, you and I became friends because I interviewed you on my radio show. So I started, you know, so this light bulb kind of went off. And if you look at Chicken Soup for the Soul, it's nothing more than a bunch of people doing little small chapters or little interviews in Chicken Soup for the Soul. And so when you look at Oprah, she just interviews people. Now, when Oprah started, you know, she started in Chicago. She had this really, what do you call it, her show, the Oprah Winfrey Show. It just started like any other show in a local market. And she started to grow her fame from there. And how did she do that? It wasn't because somebody said, oh, look, it's Oprah. Let's all hurry up and embrace her. No, it's because she started interviewing some of the most interesting people in the world. Hold on. And that's really what made her famous. So everybody can start interviewing the most famous people in their niche, in their marketplace, and before you know it, you will become famous by association. So I have a friend of mine named Tom Hopkins. He's a best-selling author. He is probably one of the biggest brands one of the biggest celebrities when it comes to sales training. And how I became friends with him is I interviewed him 3 or 4 times. He now writes for my blog. You know, if I was to call up Tom and say, hey, Tom, I want to meet you, he probably wouldn't have taken my call. Hey, Tom, I want you to write for me. He probably would have charged me an arm and a leg.
Yes.
But because we're friends, he writes for me for free. He's a regular contributor on my radio show, and we've done business together. We've done a big chunk of business together. He endorses me. I endorse him. Another gentleman that I had a similar experience with was Joe Vitale, who was famous from the movie The Secret. He's written like 60 books and has paid me thousands of dollars to help him with certain things in the area of marketing and publicity. And we are friends. I've spent the night at his house. We've traveled together. We've done movies together. It's because I interviewed him. And he endorses me. I endorse him. Again, it all came from what I call reverse publicity. So that's what I want you to start thinking is you, whether you're a plumber, whether you're an SEO guy, whether you are an attorney, whether you're a barber, a salon, you start interviewing the people in your marketplace, and all of a sudden you're giving them publicity, and they're going to give you endorsements. They're going to give you free traffic. They're going to give you more customers, and it doesn't cost you very much money at all. It's very easy to do, and it's very exciting. So hopefully that wasn't too much of an answer there, but that's my kind of my background and my take on publicity today.
No, I love it because actually, actually I learned from you that I started to sort of try to invite people to my YouTube channel and things like that, and like if I want to learn something from them and ask them questions for like an hour, they're not gonna sit. They don't have time, right? But if they want publicity, yeah, from my channel, yes, they'll sit down for an hour and I'll ask them all the questions they want. And
that's right.
And sometimes
it's so funny that you should mention that because that is a fantastic example. And the other thing is, if you can interview people that maybe will never be your customers. For example, to take your example, if I have a legal question, I will interview 3 or 4 different attorneys, all in that same area of expertise, and get all my questions answered for free.
Yes.
That's the power of publicity. I get literally hundreds of books for free because they want me to review them. I get products for free. I get blenders. Mercedes gave me a car to try out for a week. I get all sorts of different stuff because I'm interviewing these people. It's a lot of fun. It's just a great way to get known and liked and trusted. So I'm glad that you're already using it, Alex.
Yeah, I love the stuff that you're teaching. I've been implementing it, and actually I'm like already seeing results. This is really good stuff. So let's go to the next thing.
Okay.
So it's a vague one. It's how to get publicity for marketing your business. I think how to get publicity. Should we skip this one or?
Yeah, let's skip that one because I think we just kind of answered it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Also, how to position yourself as an expert in how to position yourself as an expert through publicity.
Yeah.
Let's do that. So, I know we touched on this in our previous videos, but can you maybe focus on how exactly publicity can help you get established as an expert in your field, in your domain?
Yeah. So, what publicity will do. Hold on. Let me start over again. Okay. So what publicity will do? It will take whatever you're doing in area of marketing and put it into hyperdrive, right? So if you're spending money on pay-per-click, people may see your ad, and if they like you, they're going to Google you, right? And so when they see that you have that kind of credibility and expertise, then again, that's taken the trust level to the next to the next level or trust to the next level, and they're going to probably do business with you quicker, faster, better. So the same thing as a speaker. If somebody is looking at hiring you and they see that you have all these connections and you're endorsed by all these people and you've been on the media, then yeah, you're going to probably get more speaking gigs. One of the tricks that I have learned, and again, guys, this is something that you can do, is start interviewing some of the reporters in your town. So again, it's about building that relationship. So if you interview these reporters and you start building the relationships, then they're going to eventually interview you. And I never ask for anything in return. I just, I invite them back on the show. I'll do an interview on my website. So you don't have to have a radio show or a YouTube channel. You can simply do it on your website, and we can talk about that if you want. But bottom line is, start interviewing the people that may influence your market, like the local media. I was interviewed by somebody in my local media, and that led me to having a contract with Fox News. That was pretty cool. Yeah. That's what publicity will do for you. That anything that you're doing, all of a sudden you're enhancing it by 10 times because you have this additional publicity. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, we've touched on this before, and I think that was a really good and clear explanation. I really like it. I actually can't wait to start implementing this stuff myself, because I need publicity for my business too. So it's like you're totally speaking to the right person here. Okay, next thing. Okay. You also mentioned, I think last time, how to become a blogging authority. That came from you?
Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about that.
So sometimes you talk about becoming a blogging authority. Could you explain that a little bit more? Like, what exactly do you mean?
Sure.
By becoming a blogging authority?
So yeah, let's talk about this. So again, using the reverse publicity model, you're interviewing all these people, and you can interview them on your website. So there's a couple things to do. Is one of the things that they teach you in the world of blogging, of publicity, and this is okay, but it takes a long time to really notice any difference, and that is to take your articles and get them on other people's websites. Well, the problem there is, again, you got to contact people that don't know you, don't trust you, don't even like you, and say, hey, can I write for your website? Here's my article. Would you please put it on your website or on your blog? Okay, but again, if you do the reverse, and again, let's say that you're in the space of SEO. So now you have a topic. Let's say that you want to talk about the new trends in the SEO marketplace. So you would invite 10 or 15 people who are SEO experts to write an article about what the top 3 things that they're seeing in the changing, in the trend, whatever, the top 3 things that they see trending in the SEO space. And so because the keywords is SEO, or the future of SEO, or SEO trending today, or whatever your key phrase is, then you're going to get ranked for that key phrase. And let's say that you interview, let's say you invite 20 people. Out of that 20, 10 of them write articles for you, or snippets, and all of those 10 people are going to promote their own article because it's in their best interest to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so now they're promoting your website. They're driving traffic to your website. Your website has now, like that, become an authority because everybody's talking about it. And let me tell you, there is nothing more fun than watching people on Twitter and Facebook talking about an article that they posted on your website.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, oh, it's on your website. It's about them, but it's on your website.
Yes.
So it's like
Yes.
promoting you. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, and think about it. You would do the same thing. When you get interviewed or when your article is on somebody else's blog, that's your natural thing. You're going to share it on Facebook, on Twitter. You're going to tell your clients about it. You're going to put it on your credentials list on your website saying, hey, my articles have appeared on moneyforlunch.com and all these other places, because it builds your credibility while building my credibility. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Awesome. Very cool. This is good. Next topic. How to rank your blog in Google? I think that came from you last time.
How to do what?
How to rank your blog in Google?
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that. So it's kind of what we just talked about, but I can kind of close it up a little bit nicer.
Okay. Cool. So I think also you talk about certain particular strategies for how to get your blog to rank in Google. Could you just briefly give us a little bit of an overview? What do you mean by that, and give us the good stuff? Give us the strategy.
Sure. So, okay, again, it's really kind of the other side or part two of what we just talked about. So, if you again have, let me start again. Yeah. So this is just the second part of what we just discussed. So one of the things that Google, Bing, Yahoo, what they love is they like links pointing to your website. Specifically, they like one-directional links pointing to your website. Number two, they like fresh content. Number three, they like content that is relevant, because the search engines are all about being relevant. So if you can imagine, you have 10 people who just wrote an article for you. They're all promoting your website. All these links are being spread out through Facebook and Twitter and all the other social media sites. So now you've added not 10, but maybe 200 links pointing to your website. Let me ask you, Alex, as an SEO expert, is that good or is that good?
It's very good if they come from like legitimate sites.
Right.
It's especially good.
And so they're coming from legitimate sites because you're not paying for links. They're really being seen as somebody else promoting your website in a very cool way. It's not sleazy or spammy. And somebody might promote it on Facebook. They're going to promote it on Twitter, on Pinterest. They're going to put it on their own website, and their friends might tell their friends about you. So it just has this great impact. So all of a sudden, you go from having no links, to now you're having maybe 50 links, and then 100 links, and then 1,000 links. So I'll give you an example. Have you ever heard of a blog called the Huffington Post?
Yeah, of course. I think it sold for $300 million or something like that. I think it was sold for $300 million.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, Huffington Post did exactly what I'm talking about. I'm copying their model because they have, and I've done the research, they have over 250,000 links pointing to their website. What do they have? Well, they have a bunch of people who are writing good content for them. They usually write the content for free because having their content on Huffington Post is good for their credibility, for the writer's credibility. Huffington Post says, thank you for the free content because it's good for us. So, again, the model works. Not only that, you can now, because you have all this link and all this traffic coming to you, you can actually start charging for, let's say, if you wanted an ad to appear on your website. If you wanted, Google ads to make money on your website, guess what? Now you have the traffic to make it happen.
Exactly.
Or if you want to charge other people's for their ad to appear on your website, guess what? You can charge a couple $100 a month because you have the traffic. And you can start monetizing your blog, your website like that.
Very nice.
Yeah, it is so powerful. Everybody should do it.
Very cool. So the other thing is, like, I did this from last week again. So how do you make deals with celebrities and leaders in your niche through publicity or using publicity? One more time.
Yeah.
So how do you make friends and sorry.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Hey, Bert. Okay, so I've seen you with Jason Statham. I know you do stuff with Arnold Schwarzenegger and some of these other celebrities. Tell us how this happened. Does that work?
Yeah. So, Bert, you actually do work with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
Tell us how we can all make this happen for our business. How can we get celebrities and to work with us?
Okay, well, again, that's a great question. And so by using this reverse publicity model that I'm talking about, you know, I interviewed Arnold Schwarzenegger many years ago, and from there I developed a relationship with him. And then about twice a year, I get to spend time with him. Of course, he introduces me to some of his celebrity friends, so I've gotten to spend time with Jason Statham. I interviewed Jason Statham, and then from there, I've interviewed some other big-time celebrities. I've interviewed Bruce Willis, Hugh Jackman, and again, it's the same model. It's inviting them for an interview. Now, here's the deal, Alex. Because I hang out with these celebrities, it has really nothing to do with the business that I am in, but it adds a lot of credibility and a lot of cool factor to who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you hear the word Arnold Schwarzenegger, I mean, you always talk about them giving you credibility, like insane credibility. It's like, like wow, you know, it's like you wrote 20 books or something.
Right. So what happens is, let's say that again, you're a plumber. You are a SEO guy. You're a best-selling author. You're a pizza restaurant owner, whatever. But you are now maybe in a picture with a big-time celebrity. It adds a lot of ooh and panache to your restaurant. Nothing, you know, we've all experienced this. This happens quite a bit in New York, matter of fact, where a lot of celebrities hang out, and this happens in LA. You'll walk into a restaurant and you'll see a wall that has nothing but pictures of celebrities eating in that restaurant.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're going, oh, that's cool. And you're going, wow, this is cool. I'm eating here where so-and-so's eating. And you're looking around the restaurant trying to figure out where they ate at. But all of a sudden you're going to be telling your friends, hey, man, I've ate at this restaurant and they had a picture of so-and-so and this person and that person. And you may not tell anybody, but it's going to make you feel better because you are kind of in the same area as some of these celebrities. And it gives that restaurant a very big wow factor, a very big cool factor that only celebrities can give a restaurant or a brand name or an author or a plumber or an SEO guy. Not that it has anything to do with your business, but again, it's that association that really helps elevate you to a different status.
Yeah, I love that because it really is like all just image building sort of. And if you're a plumber, but if you're a plumber next to like a celebrity like Madonna or then all of a sudden, like, what does this plumber know that nobody else knows?
Right.
Exactly. Like it adds a whole dimension. This is really amazing stuff. And what I really love is that as soon as you build your promotion channel, you can just invite them. So it's like you're doing them a favor. It all sort of comes full circle. I really like this.
Exactly, and you know what? And this is the way I tell people: start off slow. So if you've never done an interview on your website, if you've never done an interview on Google, don't invite some big-time celebrity today. Wait till you have a little bit of experience and you know how to do all that. and I'll be glad to maybe you and I will do another hangout or another course on how to do that. But bottom line is, it's important that you start off slow and you build your own trust level that you know what you're doing, because these steps do take not a lot of work, but a little bit of work. And it's by far the easiest, fastest way to build your name, to get celebrity endorsements, to get credibility, to get free traffic, to get free SEO. It's the fastest way I know how to do it. And when I say fast, I'm talking months. I'm talking that you can go, and Alex, as an SEO guy, what I'm about to explain here, and I want to get your feedback. So to take, when I started doing this on Money for Lunch, on my website, Money for Lunch was ranked, I think we were in the top 3 million websites. In 60 days, it might have been less, but in 60 days, we were in the top 1 million websites. I think. In 90 days, we were in the top 500,000 websites. So from an SEO point of view, if I was to have paid an SEO guy to do that for me, it would have taken a lot longer than 2 or 3 months, and it would have probably cost me, I don't know, $10,000, $20,000, because SEO is a very slow process and it takes time to get there. Am I right?
Totally right.
So that's why this process is so nice. One of my clients, when we started working with them, their website was in the top 10 million websites. In 30 days, they went from 10 million to 5 million. In another 30 days, it went from 5 million to, again, in the top 1 million websites, according to Alexa. And again, it just works that fast. In literally 2 or 3 months, your website will change, and there doesn't a day does not go by where I don't have people saying, hey, can I write for your website? Today I had somebody who offered to pay me $300 per article on my website. There were going to be advertorials, kind of a combination of an ad and a disguised as a story. But $300, and we're negotiating whether they're going to do 2 or 3 a month. But think about it. If somebody's willing to pay you $300 for essentially an ad, and then they're going to drive traffic, and so if they just do 2 or 3 a month, that's almost $1,000. That's a really nice car payment. That's a nice little vacation in a very short amount of time. It's very useful money. It costs you nothing. It's pure profit. I love it. It's exciting.
Yeah, this is really good stuff. Send those people my way also, by the way. Okay, cool. So actually, one thing I want to ask is, let's say you are a small publication like mine. Like maybe if I come to Arnold Schwarzenegger and I say, Arnold, would you like 1,000 YouTube views? Come on my channel. And Arnold's gonna say, whoa, I can't do his. I cannot do his.
He's gonna go. What is it?
Hasta la vista, baby.
I'm trying to think of his accent. He's gonna go something like, no, I don't think so. No, not for me.
Hasta la vista, baby.
That's it. Perfect. Hasta la vista, baby.
What about 10,000 views? He will.
You're doing it the wrong way. You're doing it the wrong way. So let me, never ever tell somebody how many views you're going to give them. That's the wrong thing that you're selling. For instance, Arnold, like all big celebrities, have this thing called a charity. And so they don't need any publicity for them. What they're looking for is publicity for their charity. So let's say that you call them up and you say, hey, Arnold, I understand you have this charity to help kids after school. I would like to interview you about that. Now you have his interest, right?
Do they generally care about their charities? I always wonder about this.
Yes, a lot of them do. I mean, some of them, again, like Arnold, he cares a lot about his charity. He does a lot of work for, it's called After School All-Stars. He will do appearances to get awareness for After School All Stars. So he does care a lot about his charity, and most celebrities really do because their name's attached to it. So
Yeah.
you know, so in that case, yes, most of them do. Now again, are you going to find maybe one or two or whatever that don't care? Absolutely, but you know, there's probably something else going on in their world where they can't pay attention to their charity. But if you started interviewing charities, by the way, here's a group of people that aren't going to care anything about how many views you have. They're not going to care about how big your website is. They don't, you know, but since, let's say, a local charity will take the free publicity any way they can get it. So that's not a bad strategy to start with that. And then if you happen to find a charity that has a celebrity attached to it, you know, go for it. But again, that's a strategy for another hangout or for another time, because we just can't cover everything in this particular session. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. Cool. So one thing I wanted to ask you. So you know, I've written a couple of books. How do and many people have right now. I mean, how do you get publicity for a book that you publish?
Well, you have to kind of be creative for a book that this is a self-published book, I'm thinking.
Yeah, but I guess self-published is a dirty word, right?
No, it's not. It's not. You know, there's been a lot of great books that are self-published, a lot of great authors who started out being self-published. John Grisham, big-time best-selling author, he was self-published. I'm trying to think. Jack Canfield did several books that were self-published. Who else? The guy who did the 1 Minute Manager. Ken Blanchard.
No.
Self-published. So self-published doesn't mean anything in today's marketplace. It really depends on how you're going to use that book. So, for example, if I was going to write a book, the way to become a best-selling author is not after you write the book, but before you write the book. So, for instance, right now, if you wanted to get great publicity for your book, and let me ask you, Alex, why do you want publicity for your book? What's your objective?
Sales.
Okay, perfect. So, I just wanted to make sure. So, the easiest thing that you can do is you can align yourself with other people to help promote your book. And so, for example, right now, one of my clients is getting ready to do not just a book launch, not even a bestseller book launch, but her goal is to become a New York Times best-selling author. So you can do this before the book or after the book. I think before the book is better, but you can still do it now. It's not too late. So here's the deal. You contact a bunch of partners. And how did you get these partners? Oh, by the way, you already interviewed them. Okay? So if you had, let's say that you had interviewed 100 people, you know, over a course of a couple of months, how many of them would be so grateful that they would be willing to promote your book?
Right. Many of them, yeah.
Many of them. Let's say, you know, let's say it's 20 or 30 or whatever. But so again, I want to remind you that you want to interview the people that you want to do business with. So, for instance, I wanted to get people to promote my books and my products. So guess what? I started interviewing people with big lists, affiliate managers, big companies that could help promote me. So then we have a landing page for Bert's new book, or in this case, Alex's book. And if you buy my book today, I'm going to give you a 10-minute radio interview on Money for Lunch. It's a $300 value. I'm going, you know, and plus my good friend so-and-so, he's going to give you some bonuses. And so if you buy my book today, these 10 people are going to give you free bonuses. All right, so they're going to give you $1,000 worth of free bonuses if you get my book today. Now, those 10 people or those 20 people, they're going to get commission if they help sell a book of yours. Would you mind, Alex, if I sold a bunch of books for you, would you mind giving me a commission?
No, of course not. I will welcome it.
Right. So now you're going to get those 10 or 20 people, maybe it's 30 people, whatever, to promote your book. Not to promote your book, but to promote your book launch party. And so they're going to send everybody to your website that you have specially made for this book, and they're using a special affiliate link that we can talk about another time, but they're going to use an affiliate code, and every time somebody makes a sale, you're going to give them commission. And so you could literally sell 1,000 or 5,000 books in just a few hours. I've done it multiple times. I think I'm a 3 or 4 or 5 time best-selling author, and so that's the way. That's called the bestseller launch formula, by the way. And just about everybody who's ever sold a book has used that formula to go from 0 to best-selling author like that.
That's so smart, because it's really so smart, because I've literally been listening to a lot of interviews of like people who sell on Amazon and whatever, and like, how did you do it? Well, I don't know. That's how they did it.
That's exactly how they did it. But that's part of the secret, is to say, well, you know what? I'm very humble and I'm very grateful that so many people love my book, and I'm so honored to be a best-selling author. Meanwhile, they're not going to tell you the formula because it doesn't make them look as cool. I just let you know something that a lot of people don't know. Now, I tell you what. Here's another question I have for you, Alex, and for everybody on today's show, on today's program. Would you like to have a best-selling book that makes you a guaranteed $10,000 minimum every time you write a book?
Yes.
Would you like me to share with you the formula for this?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, back to what we've been talking about is, remember how we are going to interview people, and because we're interviewing these people, they're going to get to know, like, and trust us?
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's say that over the course of 3 months, you interviewed 30 people on the subject of SEO. So now you're going to write a book called, the new tricks of SEO, or how to rank your business on Google in 3 easy steps.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that one. Sounds better. So now you're going to go to those same 30 or 40 people that you interviewed and say, hey, would you like to write a chapter in my book? What are they going to say?
I'm busy. Some of them will say okay.
That's right. Now, here's the catch. If you want to write a chapter in my book, because it's going to be a bestseller, it's going to be a best-selling book, I got to pay for the advertising to get the best-selling book. And if you become a best-selling author, it's going to give you a lot of credibility. So yeah. I got to charge you $900 to write a chapter in my book. So let's say out of those 30, only 10 people decide to write a chapter for you. That's $9,000. I promised you 10. So let's say that, whatever. So, but you see the formula here.
Yeah.
So let me show you something. This is an old copy of Chicken Soup for the Soul. They did that. Okay, now this is the original, so they didn't do it in this one, okay? But later on, when they went for Chicken Soup of the Soul this is for Chicken Soup of the Soul for America, a Chicken Soup for a mom soul, a Chicken Soup for a teenager soul, they got other authors to pay them money to write some of these books, and they're off and running. So not only are you a best-selling author, not only are those 10 or 20 people going to promote the heck out of that book because they all have a vested interest in becoming best-selling authors, but they paid you for that privilege. And so now you're a best-selling author, you've written a book, and you got paid 10 grand to do it, or 5 grand to do it, how much, depending on how much you want to get paid. Maybe you do it, maybe you do the first one for just $3,000 and charge $300 a person. But you're up and running. And let me tell you, if you did that 2 or 3 times a year, it's not bad cash. Also, it helps. The books are great lead magnets. Hold on a second. I want to show you one more example. Okay, so this is my latest best-selling book. And so this lady, Vicky, the way Vicky found me, I think she found me because I was doing a speaking engagement. And so I interviewed Joe. He's a good friend of mine. I interviewed Vicky. Who else is on here? Morgana Ray. I've interviewed her. Anyway, these are a bunch of people that I've interviewed. They happen to be some of my friends. And I get to be on the cover of all these books, right? It didn't cost me a dime to be on the book. I'm also on the back cover of the book. She has Vicky is the person who put this together. There's 45 different authors part of this book. You can see it's not very thick. On average, she got paid $500 to get people involved with Joe and I. So because Joe and I are part of this book, that's kind of the credibility clincher, right? And so people signed up. She made something like $30,000 off of this book.
Wow, very nice. Better than actually selling the book, because the book, you sell it and you get a little royalty, but this is really how you do it. Okay.
That's right. Well, this is one of the best ways to do it. And the important thing is books work magic because they're like little lead generators, right? If you look at these people who write books after books after books, again, Jack Canfield, Joe Vitale, what happens is these books help build SEO, they help build credibility, and every day somebody is finding you for the first time because of your book.
Yeah. This is really good stuff. I think this is gonna be like probably the most definitive answer ever on how to get like publicity for a book and how to do a book. This is fantastic. All right, next thing.
All right, while you're looking up the next thing, I gotta grab some water.
Okay.
So, we could do another course on how to do the bestseller blueprint. We could do a whole course on how to make $10,000 on your book every time.
That would be very good. Actually, Udemy really loves those titles, like how to make 10,000, how to make 100,000. They love those types of things. Okay, hold on. Are you back? Oh, you're back. Sorry, I was just surfing while you were gone. Okay, so the only thing is I have a little bit of a battery issue again where I'm like down to 30%. So let's spend like no more than 5 minutes on a thing.
Okay.
Just because it's just gonna run out. Okay, cool. So the next thing is so as a publicity expert, do you find services like PR Web, the ones that send out a lot of press releases for you, do you find PR Web and services like that effective?
Yes, I think that PR Web is good. They're a little pricey. I think it's like $300 to $400 when you use PR Web. The one that I like to use is PR Log, L-O-G, PR Log, and they're very inexpensive, and they also have a free model that works really well. I know several celebrities that use PR Log.
No.
So press releases work really well depending on, again, what your objective is. So if you hope to make the 5 o'clock news using a press release, unless you are a worldwide celebrity like Arnold, like the president, like Bruce Willis or somebody else, a press release won't do you as much good. But if you want to, let's say, create credibility, get SEO links, build web traffic, I think press releases are great. And you can do a press release for anything. In fact, we could do a press release for this program that we're doing. And so that's going to help people find additional information about us. And press releases are kind of cool because they are a credibility piece. People look at press releases and they almost have the same influence as a story, a news story. They do have a lot of power, and again, they will give you link juice. They will give you credibility. So I'm a big believer in press releases.
Awesome. I love that. How do you actually write a press release?
Wow. Well, you know what? I'll tell you the #1 secret to a press release, and then we'll have to do a different program for this because they do take a while. But the #1 secret, Alex, to a good press release is the headline. 80% of the success of your press release, your ad, your book, is that headline. So if you have a great headline, you're going to get more attention. One of the great ways to use a press release, for instance, anything with the word Obama, since he's our current president, is going to get some. It's going to get some views. I did a press release a while back. You'll like this. Obama is using. White House using. I did 2 of them. One where I used the word President Obama, and then the other one where I used the White House. And you could probably still find it. It's White House uses sneaky internet marketing tricks, and I got like 3,000 views the first day.
Ah, very nice.
So it works.
Yeah, I love the headline stuff because sometimes people ask me, so how to promote this event? And I'm like, just make an incredible headline. And they're like, well, that was not really helpful, just the headline. But they don't understand the power of headlines because it's a matter of difference if people click on the thing or not. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. You know what? I've spent as much as 3 or 4 days coming up with one really good headline. I might write 100 headlines and pick one. So that's how important the headline is. 80% of your success is going to be in that headline, whether it's a book, a press release, whether it's an ad, all of that. It's tied up in that headline. They're very, very important.
Awesome. So tell me, as a small business or as maybe a slightly bigger business, when should I start to think about hiring a PR agency to do my press for me? And how much? I mean, how much do they usually cost? Can it be? I know it's kind of expensive. Can it be cheaper? And when is a reasonable time to begin thinking about hiring a PR agency?
I think that the minute you can afford it, I would do it. So typically, you can get a decent, okay PR agency for about $5,000 a month. You can probably get a really good one for about $20,000 a month. You know,
What, like,
so
yeah.
and the difference is this: the one that charging you $20,000 a month just has better relationships. They have, so they're the ones that could probably get you on Fox News, on CNBC, on CBS, on ABC. So those are the ones that you want to go after. But what's interesting is one of the first things that a big PR agency is going to ask you is, what do you have as credibility? Have you written a book? They love books. Books give you a lot of credibility. We talked about that a little bit earlier in this segment or in this show that how important books are. So if you really want to go after big time publicity, write yourself a book first. Even if it's self-published, it doesn't matter. So anyway, so hopefully, I know we're kind of short on time, so hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, this is really good stuff. And just quickly, once I hire, okay, so let's say I pay my $10,000. What should I expect, like a month? Should I expect every month to be on TV? Should I expect every month to be on TechCrunch? What's a reasonable expectation? And by the same token, can I just pay Mashable or TechCrunch or some other big news publication like a couple of $1,000s just to get an article placed there? Is that common?
Well, let me answer the first question. Let me answer the second question first. So, can you pay for that? Certainly. I mean, TechCrunch, if you pay them $5,000, they may do that. And sometimes that's the easiest thing to do. I mean, the problem is that a lot of these news organizations are going to say, well, if I accept money for your article, then that reduces my credibility. So you got to be careful. But you know what? All the big magazines do it. News and World Report. You'll see this article, and in very small writing at the top of that article or at the bottom, it'll say, "This is an advertisement." But people, as long as the article looks authentic and it's engaging and the content is good, it doesn't matter. You can still use the credibility. You can say, "Hey, I've been seen on TechCrunch."
Yes.
You don't have to, it doesn't matter whether you paid for it or not, because eventually you pay for it. So, and when I say you pay for it, let's say that you write 2 or 3 amazing books, and TechCrunch finally starts, writes an article about you or interviews you because you wrote this great book. Well, that was a form of payment. You had to go through all the trouble and hassle of writing the book, getting it to become a best-selling author, and really getting it in the hands of everybody before somebody wrote about it. So one way or the other, you're going to pay for your publicity. So if you can do it straight off and just give somebody cash, that works. A PR agency, to answer the second question, what should you expect from them? That is something that you want to get up front. So if you're paying somebody $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month or even $2,000 a month, what are they going to do for you? Can they get you on the radio? Can they get you in print? Can they get you on TV every month? Find out. Find out what clients are they working with right now and see what they've done for those clients. Ask for a reference of 3 or 4 or 5 clients. Anybody can get you 3, but ask for 4 or 5. Look around. See if people are happy with them.
Okay, great stuff. Okay, did that. Sorry, just quickly, 1 second. Can you tell us how to use publicity stunts to get interesting kind of a publicity for your business?
Sure. So let's talk about that real quick. So publicity stunts, I think, are very effective, especially if you do it right. I mean, it can be very effective. If you do it wrong, then you look like a schmuck and people get mad at you. So, for instance, if you're a plastic surgeon, you could do a April Fool's contest. So you could have a fake contest on April Fool's Day that you're going to give 50 women, free breast plant surgery. And of course, everybody's going to talk about that. And then, of course, you can say, "Hey, April Fools." And hopefully it won't backfire in your face. But guess what? A lot of people are going to hear about your name and about your practice, so it could work out really good. Um, another stunt that you might could have fun with, depending on where you live. Like I know, again, you and I've talked about this before. You live in Brooklyn, so you could sell the Brooklyn Bridge. So, and what I mean by that is, the Brooklyn Bridge goes under maintenance every year. You could go to the Brooklyn Bridge today, and I guarantee you're going to find a chunk of the Brooklyn Bridge that has fallen off the Brooklyn Bridge. You can now take that chunk and break it up into smaller chunks and sell it. So Alex now can literally sell the Brooklyn Bridge. That would probably get you some publicity. You could do that with a lot of different things. So you just got to be smart about it. Again, this is an area where we could do a whole hour of training on, maybe even 2 hours of training on, because it's very something that you got to do very carefully and really be aware of what you're doing and what your objective is when doing any kind of publicity, especially a publicity stunt. And you want to make sure that you can come off looking cool and make sure that everybody has a fun time versus coming off looking really bad and like an idiot.
Good stuff. Yeah, we should really do more courses. Can you tell me what exactly is a publicist and how does a publicist work?
Sure. So, okay, good question. Again, a publicist or a PR agency are the same thing. Excuse me, I just had to get some water there. So what their job is they are essentially going to build relationships with the media that are going to benefit you the most. So again, if you're a plastic surgeon, if you are somebody in the hair business, an SEO business, whatever, then you have to, their job is to make sure that your message matches the media audience. You with me? And their job is to call the media, present why you should be on the show, and do a follow-up, and do another phone call, and send them an email, and just follow up and follow up and follow up. So that's really what a publicist does. That's what a PR agency does, is that they have these media contacts. They know how to carve out or position your message so where it would become very likely that the media is going to want you on their show, and then their job is to get you on that show or on that website or on the paper. Does that help?
Yeah, that's fantastic stuff. I've kind of been wondering what exactly the benefit is, but I guess it's really the connections and you're getting their time to keep on persistently getting you there, and it's also the story. They help you with the storytelling that's angled correctly at the publication, which is really good stuff. Okay, next. I have about 18% battery life, and we have like 8 more topics. So, but those topics are the worst. I saved the worst for last, kind of. So let's see if we can quickly go through them.
So do we want to? I don't know. Either move your laptop so it can get power, or do we want to stop here, let you energize, and come back in 20 minutes?
18% is really good. We'll be able to get most of it. Yeah, it's good. So last week we had a topic, social media publicity. Is that something that how to get? What is social media publicity, or nah?
Well, we kind of covered that in the very beginning when we talked about how people were going to share it on social media.
Okay, so skip that. Different kinds of press release services. We kind of covered that in some way. Do you wanna? Is that? Or like
say that again.
Like overview of different kinds of press release services. Should we do that?
No, we've already kind of talked about PR Web and PR Log, and
Okay.
I think we're good.
Okay, that's good. It's easier to do these when we skip them. How about in branding? Last week we also had a branding versus direct response marketing.
Yes.
Okay. So can you talk a little bit about marketing to build up your brand versus direct response marketing? A little bit about both, and which one do you prefer, and like, some strategies for these?
Sure. So direct response marketing will automatically build your sales and your brand. So remember that direct response marketing builds both at the same time, whereas branding only builds one thing, and that is your name. So an example of branding is, have you ever seen a sign that says Coca-Cola is the real thing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's branding. Now, another one that you've probably seen is Coke is on sale, get 2 cases for $10.
Yeah.
So they both are effective. I think that for most people, 80%, 90% of the people out there, what they really need to work on is direct response, because you really need sales. That's the most important thing. Then if you're bringing in sales, people are going to know who you are. They're going to understand your brand. They're going to understand your story. Where if you are just a few years old and you don't have just millions of dollars to pour into branding, and let's say that somebody sees your ad, or they see your ad and it says Bert Martinez, and you're going, well, what do I care about Bert Martinez? I've never heard of that. As opposed to maybe if they hear Tony Robbins, still a lot of people have not heard of Tony Robbins, though even though he's on TV every night. But it's a difference of of really making money and building your brand, or just building your brand and not making money. So direct response is the way to go. Direct response means that you want them to take some kind of action right now. Maybe it's opt into your website. Maybe it's to buy something at a discount, or just buy something. But most people use it in a form of a discount. Buy it now before the price goes up. And so it's just better for you as a business person to use direct response to build both your income and your brand name. And then when you have millions and millions and millions of dollars, then you can look at doing something like branding by doing something, something that has nothing to do with revenue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like event sponsorship or something like that, where
Yes.
your name is there. Yeah, I get that. So I guess we should do some direct response here, right?
Yes.
People go to Bird's website, moneyforlaunch.com, freepublicity.com.
No. You know what? Don't go to that website. Go to this website. You know what? Let me get it up. I'm sorry, you guys.
freepublicityexpert.com, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
freepublicityexpert.com.
Okay, viewers. Here, now we did theory. Now we're gonna do examples. We're going to do direct sales. Go to prepublicityexpert.com. Just joking.
There you go.
Probably will find good stuff if you go there. So why not? Very cool.
So yeah, that's a great example of direct response.
And then, okay, next thing, press release training and press release template.
You know what? I think that if you go to freepublicityexpert.com, you can get samples of some free press release templates, and you can get a hold of me there. You can ask me questions. So just go there. That's a great place to get started.
Very cool. And I want to ask again. So let's say I wanted to get Gary Vaynerchuk on my YouTube channel. He's big time now.
Yes.
He's got a book right now that he's trying to sell. But again, I know you told me before, don't talk about the size of your publication. But at the same time, he's gonna want to know, right? How many books can I sell? Like if I'm gonna sell him 2 books, he's not coming on the show.
Right.
If I sell him 200, he'll do it.
But
how big should I be? How should I get Gary Vee on my show?
Okay, so start with asking him to be on your show. That's really where it starts. He may say no, and if they say no, not at this time, then ask them why. Now, so let's talk about this. So, it's like anything else, Alex. You got to walk before you crawl, or I'm sorry, you got to crawl before you walk. So, to go from where you're at now to asking Gary Vaynerchuk or Arnold or anybody else that doesn't have a personal connection with you to be on the show, you need to maybe start off small. So start asking for other people to come on your show because you want to build up. You do want to build up the show's credibility. You want people talking about you. So, I tell you a guy that would probably come on your show who doesn't care about the size of your show, and that's Guy Kawasaki.
Oh, really?
Guy Kawasaki is brilliant. He's probably as big as Gary Vaynerchuk. Has 3 or 4 or 5 New York Times best-selling books, and I can make that introduction and get him on your show, and he's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be an amazing guest.
Yeah,
I would right away become like celebrity by default next to him. Like I guess
that's right. You're getting it. That's exactly what we're talking about.
By association.
Because his coolness rubs off on you.
Yeah. I like, and I'm going to use your term, like publicity by association, right? That reverse.
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. I'm learning. Very cool. Okay, just 3 more to go. I think how to get press coverage for on a thing like TechCrunch. I think we covered it well. Paying, so we covered that. How to get publicity for a business? Too vague, right? Like we covered it.
I think we're okay there. I think we can,
Yeah, I can just use that publicity for business and the title of a different thing. And then last one, if you can believe it, we have a last one. How to get publicity for a national publication. And I think that's something that we came up with last week. How to get publicity for a national publication, yes, no?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what we said last week or 2 weeks ago.
If not, it's okay. Right now we have, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 videos. This is going to be 18 videos and 18 Udemy lectures in one course. Very hefty.
So why don't we go ahead and end it up and just say, hey, Bert, we're out of time. It's been great. Is there anything that you want to add?
Oh yes. This has been a fantastic interview. I don't know about the listeners, but I've learned a ton. I'm actually super eager to go implement this stuff right now. I'm actually thinking of what things in my schedule I can get rid of so I can go implement this stuff, literally right now. So if people want to get in touch, I know you have freepublicityexpert.com. You have a radio show. Tell us how people can get in touch with you and what should they do?
Well, if you want to get a hold of me just to talk or whatever, then you can reach out to my. I'm going to put up my my email right here. Let's see if it'll change it. So let's see if that worked.
Yeah.
So there's my email. You can go to freepublicityexpert.com, download some free stuff. You can write to me at bertmartinez.com or bert@bertmartinez.com. And I'll be glad to answer your questions. I've had a lot of fun. I mean, I always get excited about this. So, Alex, I'm excited that you're excited, and I hope that everybody on today's program will really just, get going on this. It's very easy to implement, and you know what? It's something that everybody can do. It doesn't matter where they're at. And if they have questions, again, come to me, bert@bertmartinez.com, and I'll be glad to give you some tips and ideas. And if if you want some one-on-one help, we can talk about that too, depending on what my time's like. So, Alex, I've just had a lot of fun, and I want to say thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, it's been fantastic. I mean, this is such an incredibly exciting dimension for any business. And I mean, the information that you provided, I mean, at least for me, it's been gold. And I hope it's been like that for our viewers as well. So thanks again for having us, guys. Check out bert@bertmartinez.com, freepublicityexpert.com. Great stuff.
Thank you, Alex. We'll talk to everybody later.
Very cool. All right. Now, did you press the record button in the beginning?
Oh!